Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
The search for a motive. Investigators today focus on why the Wisconsin suspected school shooter would carry out such a crime. The new information we have about the people who died as the community remains in mourning.
Also, a serious crash early this morning. We have a look at the damage to that car and what we know about the crash.
Plus, it's time to hold 'em or fold 'em. A brand new casino is opening today, just a short road trip away from the Triangle. The exciting festivities happening today to mark the opening of Caesars Virginia in Danville. Doors finally opening to that casino. Kelsey Coffey is there. She's going to tell us all about it. Are you lucky?
I feel like, I don't know if I've ever been lucky, in the casino sense of winning money. I just feel like I hand it over, have my fun.
Yeah, and then you walk away.
Done,
and it's done, it's gone.
But it's only 90 minutes away, Dan Vegas.
Yes.
It's gonna be, right?
There you go. I love it. I'm Michelle McConaughey along with Jeff Hogan. Let's get outside to meteorologist Chris Michaels. He's on the WRAL weather patio. You don't need the heavy jacket today.
No, you don't. And in fact, I'm feeling lucky to be out here. It feels really nice, despite the fact that we've got some patchy fog, especially south and east of the Triangle. We're going to continue to see that up until about 10 o'clock this morning. There's a live look at Clinton, and you really see just how dense that fog is. And again, it's going to take a little bit of time for that to clear up in parts of Sampson, Cumberland, and Wayne counties. Maybe it's a late start to the school day for some of us. Hey, recess time, it's going to be great to get outside. Maybe you'll have the chance to do that during your lunch break. High temperatures today, upper 60s. That's about 10 to 15 degrees above average. We'll be in the upper 50s this evening. Similar kind of feel out the door tomorrow morning. Tracking a pair of cold fronts, one of which brings rain tomorrow evening. Another, some cold air this weekend. I'll show you if that lasts through Christmas coming up.
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. First responders are working to clear this crash scene on I-87 northbound. It's on the shoulder of the road right now, not causing any problems for you this morning. But I wanted to make sure I stay on top of it to make sure it does not affect you this morning. I want to isolate the belt line and show you exactly what's going on there. You can see the southern loop of the belt line, the red and yellow showing up, as well as in the northern loop of the belt line. Let's go ahead and give you a live look at the courtesy of a live cam network. This is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. These are westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. You're looking at maybe a 5 to 10 minute delay. Similarly, in Capitol Boulevard, you can see the red bumper-to-bumper traffic in those southbound lanes. And really the troubled spot, you're looking at a 12-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest this morning, so keep that in mind as well. Over in the Bull City, we're seeing bumper-to-bumper traffic on I-885 in both directions this morning. So let's take a look at what you're looking at in terms of I-85 in the northbound lanes heading into Durham this morning. You're looking at a 5-minute delay, but if you're leaving Durham, you're looking at an 8-minute delay this morning. You get ready to head out. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
And Ken, we keep it on the roads with a story we've been following in the overnight hours out of Johnston County. This morning around 2:15, there was a serious crash near Wilson's Mills. We're working to find out the conditions of the people involved. Police say it was just a one-vehicle crash right there. And you can see the windshield and front bumper of the car badly damaged.
We'll get another update from investigators in Wisconsin at 2 o'clock this afternoon. They are still working to uncover a motive for yesterday's shooting at a school in Madison that killed a student and a teacher. This morning, 2 out of the 6 people who were hurt are in critical condition. Police say they are both students. Investigators searched the home of the accused shooter, 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, last night. Officers have been speaking with her father as they try to figure out a motive. Officers say Rupnow opened fire at the Abundant Life Christian School just before 11 o'clock yesterday morning. Police say that Rupnow was a student at that school. They say she died on the way to the hospital after shooting herself. A vigil for the shooting victims is happening tonight at Wisconsin State Capitol.
And breaking news out of Fayetteville, where a person is dead after being hit by a vehicle. The crash happened just after 9 o'clock last night on South Rayford Road at Pinewood Terrace. The person who was hit was taken to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center, where that person died. Fayetteville police say the driver who hit the person stayed at the scene. The name of the person who died has not been released.
This morning, jurors will begin deliberating in the trial of a Raleigh store owner accused of stabbing a customer to death. Tazir Zarqa was on the stand for most of the day yesterday before closing arguments began. He and his lawyer claimed self-defense and that 27-year-old Mark Garrity was trying to steal a Gatorade. A struggle took place when Zarqa tried to see what was in Garrity's bag. The defense says that Garrity was high and drunk at the time. Prosecutors say excessive force was used.
That's not a mean man over there. That's not a malicious man over there. That's not a murderer over there. That is a man who found himself in a very difficult, dangerous, and traumatic situation.
After all of this goes down, no matter what, don't you go outside and you know that there's a guy 5 feet from you bleeding out the way that you've seen him bleeding out?
Zarqa could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted. And WRAL will be there as the jury deliberates today. Tune into our newscast from 4 to 7:30 this evening for updates about a verdict or any other developments in this case.
Another interest rate cut could be on the way this week. The Federal Reserve's two-day December meeting starts today. The agency is widely expected to cut interest rates by another quarter point tomorrow. This would be the third rate cut decision in a row. The Fed began easing rates in September for the first time in 4 years.
Your next trip to a casino will be a lot shorter. It is opening day for Caesars Virginia in Danville. And WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from I-40 and Raleigh. Kelsey, a lot of people have already made the trip for that temporary casino, but today doors officially open.
Michelle, a huge parade is scheduled for that grand opening at 10:15 this morning, and NBA legend Dennis Rodman will be hosting it. So if you feel like taking a road trip, hitting I-40 here, then Caesars, Virginia is just an hour and a half away from Raleigh. So we'll give you a look now at video of inside of the casino. There are nearly 1,500 slot machines, 79 live dealer table games, a sports book, and a World Series of poker room. The $750 million resort is full of amenities, including a pool, spa, and restaurant.
You typically don't build casinos of this size and scale with these amenities outside of our larger destination markets like a Las Vegas or Atlantic City.
Virginia's success with casinos comes after failed efforts to open more here in North Carolina. A study from last year shows our state is missing out on $259 million in gaming revenue to Virginia each year. Doors were open at Caesars Virginia today at noon, and guests can enjoy a firework and drone show tonight at 8 o'clock. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Wake County.
Happening today, state electors will meet to cast their ballots for the Electoral College. Secretary of State Elaine Marshall will convene the electors at noon at the Capitol building in Raleigh. Electors will cast the state's 16 votes for president and vice president. Because Donald Trump and J.D. Vance won the state's popular vote, the electors have been nominated by the state Republican Party.
New warrants are shedding light on what police are searching for after a wrong-way crash killed a woman and hurt 3 others, including a child. It happened early Sunday morning on US 70 outside of Clayton. A BMW going the wrong way slammed into a Jeep with a family inside, killing a 24-year-old mother. The driver of the BMW ran away from that crash. New warrants obtained by WRAL show investigators have interviewed the owner of the BMW and several other people potentially linked to that car, but no one has been identified as the driver. The warrants say investigators have searched a Raleigh townhome looking for evidence linked to that crash.
Durham City Council passed a contract to begin repairs on the Fayetteville Street corridor. It's part of a $10 million investment from the American Rescue Plan Act to improve the area and the Hayti community. It's the first step. Revitalizing structures in the Hayti community have seen historic decline after construction of the Durham Freeway. Durham also has a new city manager. The council appointed Bowman Ferguson during last night's meeting. Ferguson will take on the role at the start of the new year. He replaces retiring city manager Wanda Page.
Coming up, a new tool helps end police chases, and it looks like it's right out of a movie.
No grapple, no, gotta grapple, gotta grapple, gotta grapple.
How one sheriff's office says the grapple tool helps end high-speed pursuits safely and more effectively.
Deeply troubling pattern of injuries within Amazon warehouses. That's what lawmakers say they found in a new investigation. How they say the company makes the warehouses seem safer than they are.
And this morning, we're still keeping an eye on some patchy fog, especially along into the east of I-95. I'll show you when that clears up and who reaches the 70s this afternoon coming up.
(8:12) is the time right now as we bring you back with this live look in Franklinton. Definitely decorated and ready for Christmas next week. As you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. It has the looks. I don't know that it has the feels. Temperature-wise, certainly we are pretty mild out there. Chris Michaels out on the WRAL weather patio right now with the real feels.
Yeah, and we'll take any excuse to come out here. It feels really nice, really refreshing this morning. Live look over North Hills. You see some of those high-level cirrus clouds not getting in the way of temperatures. Currently at 51 degrees, so we've cooled off pretty nicely so far on this Tuesday morning. As we get toward midday, we're in the mid-60s. How about some high temperatures in the upper 60s this afternoon? It's not going to break the record of 73 in the Triangle. That was set back just 3 years ago. No way we're hitting the record in Fayetteville. That's 80 degrees. Our forecast 72, so still plenty warm enough for your Tuesday. Got a front just to the north that's going to try to squeeze out a stray shower north of Wake County after 1 or 2 p.m. But our more, I would say, significant cold front is coming in out of the west, and that's going to be a player in tomorrow's weather. Now, very early tomorrow morning, could see some showers near the Virginia state line. Much of our Wednesday is actually fairly dry. It's really going to be between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. that we stand a better chance for showers and some rumbles of thunder. A little cool down into the 50s Thursday and Friday. Bigger cool down on the way as we head into the weekend. I'm talking high temperatures possibly in the 30s by Sunday, but that Arctic air goes back to the North Pole just in time for Christmas. Temperatures look to be pretty average Christmas Day, and right now things are trending a little drier with more rain out toward the west. In fact, for giggles, we'll look at the chance of a white Christmas, 1% or low. So it's not happening this time around, but we'll keep tabs on the holiday forecast as we go throughout the next few days. Next 7 days, today and tomorrow, very warm, highs near 70 in the Triangle. Thursday and Friday will cool down to seasonable levels, highs in the 50s. Winter officially begins on Saturday, and it's going to feel like it through the weekend into early next week. Highs in the 40s and lows in the 20s.
1%, Chris, so you're saying there's a chance. All right, let's check your morning commute this morning. The good news is that crash that was on the shoulder road of I-87 in northbound lanes completely cleared this morning, but we're seeing the usual trouble spot in Capitol Boulevard, those southbound lanes coming in this morning. Here's what we're looking at. You're looking at a 9-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest this morning. The I-40 eastbound beginning to get congested as well. You're looking at an 8-minute delay, just a couple of minutes coming in on 87 this morning. If we take it over to the Bull City this morning, we're seeing a heavy congestion in both the north and southbound lanes of 885 this morning. So in terms of your delays, if you're heading into Durham this morning, you're just looking at a 5-minute delay heading into the Bull City. If you're leaving Durham this morning, you're just looking at a 6-minute delay. So nothing that's really going to make you too late this morning. Bringing it back to Wake County, isolate the Beltline, that southern loop of the Beltline. You see that traffic is building there, as well as the northern loop of the Beltline. These are the westbound lanes of I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road coming quarters. You're getting ready to head out this morning. We got you covered. 101.5 HD3. Listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
Thanks, Ken. A house was damaged in Raleigh when a car crashed into its side. Sky 5 was over the scene yesterday on Revive Drive near Truxton Lane. Police say the man driving the car was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No one was inside the home at the time.
Authorities say juvenile petitions will be taken out for 2 Durham teenagers accused of bringing a BB gun to a school. WRAL was there as the 16 and 17-year-old boys were taken into custody near Jordan High School yesterday. A student reported seeing 2 students with what they thought was a handgun on campus. The school went on lockdown as officers investigated. A student admitted having a BB gun and gave it over to officers.
Drone sightings like these are being reported up and down the East Coast, and several sightings have been reported here in our area as well. Local law enforcement say it's important to remember that drones you're seeing flying overhead, they actually might be helpful. Western Wake Fire Department held a training event last night to help first responders learn how to properly use drones for rescues. Nash County Sheriff Keith Stone tells WRAL anyone who sees a drone flying overhead and is worried about it should not take action to bring it down.
we as law enforcement utilize drones in covert investigation, and also if we're trying to locate missing people or elderly people that have walked off from home or children, just contact law enforcement and let us do the investigation.
Some people on social media have said they would shoot down a drone if they saw one overhead. Stone said that can actually lead to more harm than good.
2 students were treated for injuries after a school bus in southeast Charlotte was hit with gunfire. Police say the students had cuts from glass. A spokesperson from Charlotte Mecklenburg School sent a message saying a dispute outside the bus led to the shooting, which broke a bus window. Police say an arrest has been made.
TikTok is making a push to avoid a U.S. ban set to take effect next month. It's appealing to the Supreme Court and trying to gain support from President-elect Donald Trump. Amy Kiley reports on the part of the plan that may be paying off.
We'll take a look at TikTok.
President-elect Donald Trump is signaling he might reevaluate a pending ban on TikTok. It's set to take effect January 19th, the day before his inauguration. That's unless TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, sells it to a non-Chinese buyer. A source says TikTok's CEO met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. Now the president-elect is crediting the social media platform with helping him get reelected.
I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok.
The ban is part of a law Congress passed with bipartisan support that President Joe Biden signed in April. It stems from concerns among lawmakers that ByteDance poses a national security risk. That's because it's a Chinese company subject to the Chinese government.
Trump's going to have a play here, but they did pass a law.
TikTok is suing over the ban. In a filing yesterday, it asked the Supreme Court to intervene. TikTok's attorneys want the justices to review their free speech arguments and give the incoming Trump administration time to weigh in. They're asking the Supreme Court to decide on the emergency appeal by January 6th. TikTok says that would give it time to shut down if it looks like the ban will take effect.
We'll wait to see what the Supreme Court does. I'm assuming they'll weigh in some way because it's a big constitutional issue.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Earlier this month, an appeals court issued a unanimous ruling against TikTok. The panel said the government has the right to regulate the company to protect national security.
A new Senate investigation is shedding light into what lawmakers call a deeply troubling pattern of injuries at Amazon warehouses. Nearly 500 current and former Amazon workers testified during the 18-month investigation. The report revealed 10 key findings, including unsafe working conditions because of workers experiencing severe and chronic pain. Investigators also found the company is manipulating workplace injury data so warehouses seem safer. They're also discouraging workers from receiving outside care. Amazon says the report is wrong and is outdated.
Deputies in Washington state are trying out a new tool to stop high-speed chases safely.
No grapple, no, gotta grapple.
The grapple helped end a pursuit that had reached almost 100 miles an hour on rural county roads. It's a spring-activated net that actually wraps around a rear tire, preventing it from spinning. The police car behind it is then tethered to the fleeing vehicle as it stops. Officials say word is spreading about this new device.
We had another pursuit a couple weeks ago down I-5, and afterwards, the suspect is given an interview, and he's like, "Yeah, I saw the county units up on the freeway waiting for me, and I knew I was toast." And I was like, "Please don't grapple me." So it's pretty funny seeing the response sometimes of some of these individuals because it's a game for them.
Experts say this device is safer than other alternatives to stop chases like pit maneuvers. Several law enforcement agencies across the country also use this device.
It looks like it mostly eliminates the crash. Today, UNC Board of Governors will discuss ways to allocate the budget for the remainder of the academic year. The board will hold a special session at 4 o'clock today to discuss the operational budget.
President Joe Biden is vowing to bring home hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza. He hosted a Hanukkah celebration last night at the White House, and he pledged his continued efforts to work to secure a ceasefire deal.
The trauma of that day and its aftermath is still raw and ongoing. I've gotten over 100 hostages out. I will not stop till I get every single one of them home.
Biden also pointed to last month's ceasefire deal between Israel and Lebanon as further evidence of his commitment to peace in the region. Hanukkah begins the evening of December 25th.
The U.S. Department of Transportation has issued a new rule requiring airlines to follow more rigorous standards, helping airline passengers with disabilities. The rule requires airlines to meet standards for safe and dignified assistance, particularly with passengers who use wheelchairs. It also mandates annual training that includes hands-on instruction for employees and contractors. The training must be completed by mid-June of 2026. Today, the Wright Brothers National Memorial in the Outer Banks celebrates the 121st anniversary of the historic first flight. Entrance fees at the park will be waived today. The park is open from 9 to 5. There'll be demonstrations with the replica 1903 Wright Flyer throughout the day. There will also be ranger-led educational programs. In addition, Tuskegee Airman Charles McGee will be inducted into the First Flight Society.
Well, get your poker faces ready. We'll tell you everything you need to know about the new casino opening in Virginia later today.
Plus, a high school student's recovering after being attacked by a parent. The questions his family is asking about campus security.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is out on the WRAL weather patio. Chris, it's going to be a warm one out there today.
Yeah, it feels great out there already. Unfortunately, that's where we're seeing fog is Clinton so far, and it looks like it'll clear out between now and about 10 a.m. But really, for the rest of the area, if warm weather is your thing, you're going to love today. Temperatures eventually making it into the mid to upper 60s. Hour by hour, we start out with temperatures in the 50s this morning, but again, it is going to start to feel more like spring out there heading deeper into the afternoon. I'll show you when we see a pair of cold fronts coming through the region. That's coming up in just a little bit over on Fox 50.
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center that we're not seeing any foggy conditions affecting the morning commute. We're seeing the usual congestion on 885 heading into Durham as well as the Beltline this morning. Let's look at that southern loop of the Beltline, give you a live look at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. You can see the westbound lanes moving away from us at a very slow clip this morning. In terms of delays, that southern loop, you're looking at a 4-minute delay, but elsewhere, nothing but clear sailing on I-40 West and the Beltline. I'll have an update at the bottom of the hour over on Fox 50.
Thanks, Ken. Today is the official opening day of Caesars Virginia Casino in Danville. Today's festivities start with a parade at 10:30 this morning. 5-time NBA champion Dennis Rodman will cast the first sports wager at 12:15. And a person is dead after being hit by a vehicle in Fayetteville. The crash happened just after 9 o'clock last night on South Rayford Road at Pinewood Terrace. The person who was hit died at the hospital. Police say the driver who hit the person did stay on the scene. Next on Fox 50, a parent faces charges related to attacking a student. See the video of the confrontation. And up next on Today, John Mulaney talks about All In, his new Broadway show about love.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
When will it end is a question a community in Wisconsin is asking themselves after another deadly school shooting.
How long are we willing to let our children and loved ones remain in this crossfire of gun violence?
And where investigators focus today as we learn more about this tragic details of yesterday's shooting in Madison.
And this morning we continue to track some patchy fog, especially as you head into the Sandhills. I'll show you when that clears up and which parts of the area make a run at the 70s today.
And place your bets. A brand new casino is opening today. The festivities happening just over the Virginia line as the newest Caesars opens its doors. Jeff Hogan has his bag of money ready to go.
yeah, ready to just hand over to him. Here you go, Danville. Vegas.
It's going to be a party. Dan Vegas. It's going to be a party. We'll tell you all about it. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. It is good to have you along here as we get our Tuesday started here. I like to keep it in the pockets, not just handing it over, for everyone else. Keep the cards close to the vest.
That's what you have to do.
I love to get outside, though, especially on mild days in the wintertime, and we have one on our hands. Need the coat this morning, but people are going to just forget about where they put it later today, Chris.
It's definitely one of those struggles today, right? Starting out feeling nice and comfortable here in the Triangle, although it is still foggy in parts of Wayne, Sampson, Cumberland counties. That's something that'll gradually clear between now and about 10 o'clock this morning. Very subtle improvements over Fayetteville over the past hour or so, and that improvement will continue to be subtle and gradual as we go throughout the next 60 to 90 minutes. It does feel really nice out here. It's sort of refreshing, especially since it's not bitterly cold just yet. Exercise forecast hour by hour may actually break a little bit of a sweat if you're going to be jogging outside. Temperatures, they'll be in the upper 60s across much of the area this afternoon. So absolutely feeling like spring out there, but a pair of cold fronts bring us right back to winter. I'll show you whether or not that lingers into Christmas Day coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Chris, in the WRAL Traffic Center, you just mentioned those foggy conditions to communities to the south, and just all new into the WRAL Traffic Center. We're getting reports of a serious crash at the entrance ramp on I-40 eastbound near I-95. Right now, we're not seeing any delays in that particular area, but I'll keep an eye on it just in case you have to navigate that area if you're heading to the beach or coming to the Triangle this morning. This back in Wake County, a serious crash on Hillsborough Street in the westbound lane near Jones Franklin Road there in Cary. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown there on Jones Franklin Road, so keep that in mind as you're about to head out this morning. As we isolate the Beltline, we see the usual slowdown in the southern loop as well as the northern loop of the Beltline. Let's give you a look at that southern loop of the Beltline. This I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road, you see the bumper-to-bumper traffic and those westbound lanes moving away from us. And even though you're seeing bumper-to-bumper traffic, you're looking at a 3-minute delay, but elsewhere on the Beltline and I-40 this morning, clear sailing. You're getting ready to head out this morning. Tune us in, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
All right, thank you, Ken. And this morning around 2:15, there was a serious crash near Wilson's Mills. We are working to find out the conditions of the people involved. Police say one vehicle was involved in this crash. It happened on Strickland Road. You can see the windshield and front bumper of that car badly damaged.
We'll get another update from police in Wisconsin at 2 o'clock this afternoon about the shooting at the Christian school that killed a teacher and a student. This morning, 2 students are still in the hospital in critical condition, and 4 other people were also hurt. Investigators searched the home of the accused shooter, 15-year-old Natalie Ruppnow, last night. Officers have been speaking with Ruppnow's father as they try to figure out a motive in this case. Officers say they know that Ruppnow started shooting in a study hall on campus there at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison just before 11 o'clock yesterday morning. Officers say Ruppnow was a student at the school, and they say she died on the way to the hospital after shooting herself. We are waiting to learn the names of the people that were killed.
A person is dead after being hit by a car in Fayetteville. The crash happened just after 9 o'clock last night on South Rayford Road at Pinewood Terrace. The person who was hit was taken to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center, where they died. Fayetteville police say the driver who hit the person stayed at the scene. The name of the person who died has not yet been released.
This morning, jurors will begin deliberating in the trial of a Raleigh store owner accused of stabbing a customer to death. Tazir Zarka was on the stand for most of the day yesterday. Before closing arguments began, he and his lawyer claiming self-defense in the case and that 27-year-old Mark Garrity was trying to steal a Gatorade. A struggle took place when Zarka tried to see what was in Garrity's bag. The defense says Garrity was high and drunk at the time. Prosecutors say excessive force was used. Zarka could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted. WRAL will be there as the jury deliberates today. You can tune in further newscasts 4 to 7:30 this evening for updates about a verdict or any other developments in this case.
A person is dead after a crash between a moped and a car. It happened yesterday in Fayetteville at the intersection of Hope Mills Road and Poplar Drive. The driver of the moped died. Their name has not been released yet.
Happening today, a new destination for casino gambling opens just over our state line. It is opening day for the Caesars Virginia in Danville. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains a lot of folks have already made the trip up to place their bets. Today, there's a big celebration, including a parade.
There will be a huge parade to kick off the grand opening later today. NBA legend Dennis Rodman will be hosting it. And if you feel like taking a road trip, hitting I-40 here, Caesars, Virginia is just an hour and a half away from Raleigh. Take a look at the inside of the casino. There are nearly 1,500 slot machines, 79 live dealer table games, a sports book, and a World Series of poker room. There was a temporary setup for the past year and a half in the parking lot. It lured guests from all over the region, including North Carolina.
We have a 320-room hotel with a pool and a spa, so all that allows us to bring more individuals, more guests than we just see in our temporary.
Virginia's success with casinos comes after failed efforts to open more in North Carolina. A study from last year shows our state is missing out on $259 million in gaming revenue to Virginia each year. Doors will officially open at Caesars, Virginia this afternoon, and guests can enjoy a fireworks show and a drone show tonight at 8 o'clock. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Wake County.
Today, Governor Roy Cooper will speak at Durham Technical Community College. He's hosting an event celebrating a stronger workforce for North Carolina. He plans to speak on the investments in workforce development that have happened over the 8 years that he's been governor. It all gets started at 11 o'clock this morning.
New warrants are shedding light on what police are searching for after a wrong-way crash killed a woman and hurt 3 others, including a child. This happened early Sunday morning on US 70 outside of Clayton. A BMW was going the wrong way and slammed into a Jeep with a family inside. The driver of the BMW ran away from that crash. New warrants obtained by WRAL show investigators have interviewed the owner of the BMW and several other people potentially linked to the car, but no one has been identified as the driver. The mother-in-law of the woman who died, 24-year-old Courtney Atkins, says the family was on its way back from Charlotte Motor Speedway after a trip to see the Christmas lights.
This was kind of normal weekend for them. They would create memories for my grandson.
The warrants say investigators have searched a Raleigh townhome looking for evidence linked to that crash.
New this morning in the WRAL Live Center, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, just announced that it is banning hidden junk fees. So it will do away with those hidden fees when you book a hotel or you buy tickets to an event. The FTC claims this will save Americans billions of dollars and millions of hours in wasted time and make comparison shopping easier. President Biden just released a statement about this, saying that we all know the experience of encountering a hidden fee at the very last stage of checkout. These junk fees sneak onto your bill and companies end up making you pay more because they can. And now, as a result of the FTC, you will not have those hidden junk fees.
Thanks, Renee, for that update. That's good news. A parent is facing charges after officials at Fike High School in Wilson say he attacked a student. This is video showing what happened here. That student suffered an apparent seizure after the attack. The principal says 43-year-old Quentin Lofton entered the school, ignored staff instruction to report to the office, and then confronted the student in the hallway. The video shows him grabbing the student by the shirt and forcing him into the staircase. The teen's sister says his family is helping him recover now.
He's pretty traumatized right now. He's very shaken up by the whole event.
And Lofton faces charges of assault by strangulation and disorderly conduct.
The Minnesota Vikings are showing love to NFL Hall of Famer Randy Moss, who recently revealed a cancer diagnosis.
Minnesota.
Star wide receiver Justin Jefferson gave his tribute after scoring a touchdown in last night's game against the Chicago Bears. The Vikings also honored Moss before the game. Team greats Chris Carter and Jake Reed carried Moss's number 84 jersey onto the field before the coin toss. Moss showed his gratitude with a post on X saying, "Love you all." The Vikings won the game 30-12 to clinch a spot in the NFL playoffs.
Elsewhere, it was a struggle for the offenses in the other Monday night football game. It was a doubleheader. The Atlanta Falcons and Las Vegas Raiders combined for 4 turnovers, 11 punts. The Falcons also blocked 3 Raiders kicks and recorded a safety. Atlanta won this sluggish game 15-9.
Stowaway arrested again. The woman caught on a Delta flight without a boarding pass is in custody again. The clue her roommate found before reporting her missing.
And an F grade for funding. We'll take a look at a report that gave North Carolina a failing grade in allotting money for public education.
And we are tracking a pair of cold fronts this week. You are taking a live look at North Hills. It's going to be warm today, but meteorologist Chris Michaels tells us when we can expect another round of that Arctic air. Wow. If you are not looking at your screen, look at it right now. This looks fake. This is a look at our WRAL studio tower. We promise you it's real. It is beautiful. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is outside on the WRAL weather patio. I mean, is it winter or is it spring right now?
Can't tell. I think it's a hybrid called Sprinter, and we're just going to go with that for the next 2 days. But the fog is very slowly starting to clear in Fayetteville, and starting to see the sunshine trying to poke through it. Eventually, by 10 o'clock this morning, it will succeed in doing so, and all of us are going to feel more like April. So Michelle's got a good point. Kind of feels like spring out there later this afternoon. Roxborough, South Hill, Durham 67, Fayetteville, Clinton 72, Raleigh 69 this afternoon. It's a good 10 to 15 degrees above average. I can't rule out a stray shower moving north of the triangle today, especially after 1 p.m. or so. Otherwise, most of your Tuesday is going to be dry and warm. Mostly cloudy heading into the overnight hours. 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, most any showers well north of the triangle, and really as you get toward the Virginia state line, those are going to continue to drift north. We'll see maybe a stray shower tomorrow afternoon. And then after 7 p.m. or so, we see a decent chance of showers, some rumbles of thunder, most of those moving south and east of the triangle. So overall, pretty low impact cold front that moves through, but a second one is a little bit more of an impact, especially on our temperatures heading into the weekend. And that's fitting. Winter officially begins at 4:20 Saturday morning, and it's definitely going to feel like it, especially heading into Sunday. But we can keep dreaming of that white Christmas, because the weather pattern is going to change by Christmas Day. Those arrows being the jet stream, and that's your separator between cold air and mild air. And what you see to the north of that is the snow. So you really got to book a flight well to the north in order to see a white Christmas. But here, it's a swing and a miss once again. 7-day forecast, high temperatures upper 60s to near 70 today and tomorrow. That first front does bring a little drop in temperatures, but the more significant drop on the way for the weekend. Lows in the 20s, highs in the 40s.
New this morning in the WRAL Live Center, China's government says you can go visit China without a visa for as long as 10 days, effective immediately. Americans and other eligible foreign travelers can stay in the country as long as 10 days without having to go through a tedious process. This is all in an effort for China to try and attract more overseas visitors. Passport holders from 54 countries are eligible, including the U.S. Previously, you could stay in China visa-free for half as long. Last month, the State Department lowered its travel advisory for China to level 2. That's exercise increased caution. That's on par with travel advisories for France and Germany.
Thanks, Renee. New this morning, a 7.3 magnitude earthquake hit the Pacific island nation of Vanuatu, damaging buildings, including the U.S. Embassy in the capital city there. The quake hit just after noon local time, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Tsunami warnings were issued, but later canceled. Vanuatu is home to about 330,000 people.
The woman who got caught stowing away on a Delta flight to Paris last month has been arrested again. This time she was caught trying to sneak into Canada. According to a law enforcement source, Svetlana Dali was reported missing by her roommate after her ankle monitor was found on the floor. She was arrested Monday on a Greyhound bus bound for Canada. Dali is now in FBI custody and will be extradited back to New York today. She'll likely be charged with bail jumping and could face up to 5 years in federal prison.
She's been very busy lately.
Yes.
North Carolina received an F for how it funds public education. A report by the advocacy group Education Loss Center looks at the latest census data from 2022. It shows funding for public schools has not kept pace with economic growth. Researchers call that a low effort to fund education in North Carolina, ranking the state 48th. Others argue money isn't the only solution.
If it raised its effort up to the national average, it would be able to raise a significant amount of additional funding for K-12.
What we should be focusing on is not the amount of inputs, the money going in, but what we're getting out of this.
North Carolina's ranking has stayed relatively the same over the past few years.
The username that Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson has used for years popped up again last week and on an official call. Robinson, who lost the governor's race to Democrat Josh Stein, participated in a December 10th meeting to help plan Stein's January inauguration. Robinson logged on using the name Mini Soldier. CNN said Robinson used that handle to make sexist and racist comments on a pornographic website. Robinson denies the reporting and has sued CNN. A spokesman said Robinson has used the name for years and that other people have used it to try to impersonate him in the past. For the latest on the lawsuit, you can go to our website, WRAL.com.
President-elect Donald Trump is defending his choice of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Kennedy met with senators on Capitol Hill yesterday. The Senate will choose whether to confirm Kennedy as health secretary. Trump answered questions about Kennedy during his first news conference since winning the election.
What do you say to people who are worried that his views on vaccines will translate into policies that will make their kids less safe?
No, I think he's going to be much less radical than you would think. I think he's got a very open mind, or I wouldn't have put him there.
Kennedy has pushed discredited theories that link childhood vaccines to autism. Speaking yesterday, Kennedy said he does support COVID-19 vaccine.
Today, a jury in California will reveal its verdict in the trial of the man charged in the killing of Cash App founder Bob Lee. The jury reached its verdict yesterday after 7 days of deliberations. Nina Momeni is charged with murder in Lee's stabbing death last year in San Francisco. In his testimony, he told jurors Lee was on drugs and attacked him over a joke. He said they struggled over a knife and he did not realize Lee was stabbed. Prosecutors say Momeni stabbed Lee over a relationship that Lee had with Momeni's sister.
A former FBI informant has pleaded guilty to providing false information to federal authorities about President Biden and his son Hunter months before the 2020 presidential election. Alexander Smirnov was indicted this year in connection with funneling false information to his FBI handler about the Bidens in June of 2020. As part of the deal, prosecutors and Smirnov's attorneys agreed to recommend the court impose 4 to 6 years in prison and 1 year of supervised release at his sentencing next month. They agreed to around $675,000 in restitution.
We'll take a look at this rushing water from a main break in the Bronx. It happened just after 7:30 last night and quickly flooded the streets there. Firefighters tried to open some drains, but the water was gushing faster than they could absorb it. Cars and streets were underwater. There are no reports of water going inside any apartments in the area and no injuries from this.
Several grocery stores in Sacramento, California are struggling to keep eggs on their shelves. Distributors say it's because of the bird flu. Cashiers say they've gotten complaints from customers as they try to bake for the holidays and need their eggs. Government data shows egg prices rose 8% in November. The USDA warns high prices could stick around well into 2025.
4 monkeys that escaped from a South Carolina research facility last month are still together in the woods outside that building. The monkeys broke free from the facility on November 7th. 39 others that also escaped have been captured and returned. The CEO of Alpha Genesis says that he doesn't want to use tranquilizer darts to catch the last 4 because that would pose a danger to them. Staff members are waiting for the last 4 to get into traps that they have set up. A new roller skating rink is coming to Durham. Construction of the Wheels Durham at Merrick Moore Park is almost complete. The city plans to have a grand opening in early 2025. They are just waiting for final approval and the certificate of occupancy from the city planning department, and then they can get an official open date.
Salvation Army is making a difference in the community with WRAL's Coats for the Children campaign, and we encourage you to donate a new or gently used coat, hats, sweatshirts, or other warm clothing to support families in need this winter. For a list of neighborhood Jiffy Lube drop-off locations or to make an online donation, you can visit WRAL.com/coats.
And before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.